and for a moment I thought our marriage was falling apart. But she wasn't talking about my body, she was questioning if I still saw her at all.
My name is David Cole, and if you had told me a single question from my wife could knock the ground out from under me, I would have laughed. We'd been married for 11 years, stable, secure, predictable in a comforting way. At least that's what I believed. But one Tuesday evening, while I was cooking dinner, humming to myself, feeling the ease of routine, my wife, Lavra, walked in with a smile that didn't match her eyes. A smile that meant trouble. She leaned against the counter, arms folded, staring at me like she was evaluating something she hadn't thought about in a long while. Then she asked, "David, do you think size actually matters?" I froze mid-chop. Not because I was insecure, though any man would feel a pinch, but because it came out of nowhere. "What size are we talking about?" I asked carefully. She raised an eyebrow. "Come on, you know exactly what I mean." Her tone wasn't playful. Not light, not flirty. It was serious, too serious. My stomach twisted into a knot. "What brought this up?" I asked, trying to steady my voice. She shrugged casually, but her eyes flicked away, a telltale sign she wasn't being fully honest. "No reason, just something I've been thinking about." Something in that moment shifted. A seed of doubt planted itself inside me. Because when your wife of 11 years suddenly questions size, she's not just asking for fun. She's asking because something has changed. Before I could respond, she walked away abruptly. "Meet me in the garage in 5. The garage? My heartbeat thudded against my ribs. Was this some kind of test? A prank? A trap? When I entered the garage, Lavara was standing there with a measuring tape and a small velvet box on the table beside her. Her expression? Focused, sharp, unsettling. "Stand here," she said calmly. I tried to lighten the moment. "What is this, a science fair project?" No smile, no smirk. She started walking around me, scribbling notes on a pad, murmuring things under her breath. I'd never seen her like this, intense, analytical, almost cold. Finally, she pointed to the velvet box. "Open it." My hands shook as I picked it up. Inside, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I looked up at her, completely lost. "That's it?" I asked. She nodded slowly. "That's all I needed to confirm." "Confirm what?" She didn't answer. She just turned and walked back inside without another word. The silence in that garage felt heavier than any argument we'd ever had. And that's when I realized, whatever this was, it wasn't about size at all. It was about something deeper, something she didn't know how to say out loud, and I had no idea what was coming next. Inside the house, Lavar wasn't angry. She wasn't withdrawn. She wasn't even emotional. She was studying me, like she was trying to decide who I was versus who she thought I was. Finally, she motioned to the dining table. "Sit, we need to talk." My chest tightened. She opened her phone and showed me a short clip, a video of some model demonstrating how attention to detail affects perception in relationships. At first, I didn't understand. Then it clicked, the size conversation, the measuring tape. The empty velvet box, none of it was about physical size. It was about emotional presence, consistency, effort. She wasn't testing my body. She was testing my awareness. "What are you trying to say?" I asked quietly. She leaned forward. "I want to know if the little things still matter to you. Little things, not big gestures, not anniversary gifts, not vacations, but the everyday emotional details." "David," she whispered, her voice cracking just a little. "When was the last time you really saw me?" That hit me like a punch. I swallowed hard. I thought I was doing everything right. Providing, helping, keeping things steady. She nodded slowly. "You've been doing a lot. But sometimes you do so much that you stop being present." Her words cut deeper than she could ever realize. I wasn't being criticized as a man. I was being called out as a husband. "When did you start to feel that?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She hesitated, looking down at her hands. "A long time now." She closed her eyes, fighting back tears. "You used to notice everything, when I was stressed, when I was excited, when I was hiding something, but lately, it feels like you're on autopilot." I sat back, stunned, because she was right. I had become predictable, routine, comfortably numb. I was so focused on being the reliable provider that I forgot to be the attentive partner. Why did you use that question? I asked, finally understanding the bizarre setup. Her lips curved into a sad smile. Because I needed to grab your attention. And it worked. My heart clenched. So this was all a test? She nodded. I had to know if you still cared enough to be affected. I exhaled shakily, the tension of the last hour finally releasing. I care. God, Lavar, I care more than you think. I just got lost in being dependable. She reached across the table and touched my hand, her touch a lifeline. Then be dependable in the ways that count. Not just the ways that are visible? The simplicity of her words hit harder than any argument ever could. This wasn't a wife attacking her husband. This was a woman asking her partner to wake up, to show up, to see her again. We spent the next hour talking honestly, vulnerably, without jokes or deflection. She told me where she felt unseen. I told her where I felt unappreciated. She admitted she'd been scared to bring this up. I admitted I'd been blind to her subtle signals for months, maybe years. By the time the conversation settled, I felt like the fog that had been clouding our marriage had finally lifted. As she stood to go to the bedroom, she paused at the doorway. "David," she whispered, "you passed my test tonight. But don't forget, size in the ways that matter is measured every day." I smiled for the first time all night, a genuine smile that reached my eyes. "And I'm ready to show it every day." She disappeared into the bedroom. I stayed at the table, staring at the empty velvet box. That box meant something now. It symbolized the truth. She wasn't testing my body. She was testing my heart. Not how big it was, but how present it could be. And that night, I realized something profound. A marriage doesn't crumble in one explosive moment. It crumbles slowly, silently, when we stop noticing each other. But it can be rebuilt the same way, with small, consistent acts of presence, for the rest of our lives. A silly, shocking question about size became the spark that woke us up from our routine. And as I walked toward the bedroom, ready to choose her again and again, I understood. In a marriage, size never mattered. Only the effort did. And effort? That's something I could give endlessly. Thanks for listening to our story. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. And please, subscribe for more stories about the real, messy, beautiful parts of life and love. See you next time.